Hello, my name is Matthias. Welcome to the FPL Scope and my team selection video for Game Week 14, which is a short turnaround from Game Week 13, where a lot of people use their free hit. And I did not because I don't have my free hit left, and I am left out without that good of a team this past game week. So yeah, I'm not gonna try to let that not affect how I conduct this video too much. I'm not gonna be too salty about the fact that I went down to 59k because I wasn't able to free hit in Gakpo and Foden, who hadn't done much in the last few game weeks, but then all of a sudden had 30. Okay, I'm getting too ahead of myself already. But anyways, I'm gonna go through all the usual stuff, including what I also do typically on the FPL School podcast, and that is going through the manager of the week, because I can't do the FPL School podcast now between the Sunday games ending and the Tuesday games starting. I got to make this video quickly, so I'm doing the manager of the week in this video, in my team selection video, which is what I do in these shorter weeks. That's also what I'm going to do for game week 15, which is going to be on the weekend after this midweek game week as well, if that makes sense to you. But yeah, I'm going to go through my team in game week 13. I'm going to go through the free hit selection that I had for game week 13 as well, which also didn't really do that well. I'm going to also check in with the manager of the week for game week 13, like I mentioned. Going to look at the plans for the manager of the week for game week 14. Going to look at the game week 14 free hit suggestion as well. I don't think that's the greatest game week to use your free hit in, for what it's worth, and none of you probably have it left because most of you probably use it in game week 13. And then finally, I'm going to have my game week 14 plans as well. So there's a lot of things to get through. I need to make this video and go to sleep because I got work tomorrow super early. So I got to just make this now, but I'm trying to be both succinct and give you the information that you need at the same time. So I'm going to try to do that, but already I've been talking too much about random stuff that I don't really need to talk about. So anyways, let's start cracking, I guess is what I'm trying to say, with my game week 13 score. I did one free transfer, and I was selling Enzo Fernandez to Morgan Rogers. I was going for one of these free hit guys that I figured could get a lot of points in midfield. I didn't really like the look of Enzo long term, so I wanted to sell him, and I felt like there were some good options. For what it's worth, I didn't weigh up either Foden or Gakpo, who would be like the correct players to go for because they got more points, of course. But I went for Rogers playing at home against Wolves. He had just scored 2 goals the past game week. He's looked in good form. Aston Villa have looked good and in good form, so I figured he would be good for this game week as well. But he didn't end up performing at home to Wolverhampton. Instead, it was Gakpo and Foden. But to be fair, looking at the underlying stats now, post game week 13, it did actually look better for Gakpo and Foden than what I expected. I didn't know that they had that good underlying stats, so that is probably my fault rather than me trying to complain about coincidences, I guess, or variance like content creators usually talk about. So yeah, I'm just gonna admit to fault on that one. Like, they probably had better chances to score. They had really good fixtures. They are a better team, playing for better teams most likely than Aston Villa, even though Liverpool have been pretty bad this season. But they played against West Ham at home as well. So yeah, probably should have gone with someone else, but Rogers felt right in the moment. He's someone that I really like. He scored twice last game, like I said. And also, Unai Emery said that he needs to be more in amongst the goals, Rogers. So yeah, but the other part of that was the fact that he is facing Brighton next game week, and Brighton have been looking a lot better defensively lately, but at least earlier in the season, they were like letting in a lot of goals. So I was thinking it's not the worst if I need to keep Rogers for game week 14 either. So let's see if he can turn it around in game week 14. But yeah, for the rest of my squad, not too many points to write home about. I think one of the main guys was having Virgil van Dijk, who was someone that got a clean sheet for Liverpool against West Ham, of course. One of the few benefits that I had from that game because, yeah, I am a West Ham fan, of course, but at least I got the clean sheet points from Van Dijk in return for that fixture. Cells, once again, just conceding goals. Not really that surprising in this game week because he faced Brighton, but he's just been terrible for me. I benched him in the one game week where he did get points. That was against Liverpool at Anfield. So Cells has just been an awful pick for me. I had him since game week 1. I haven't wildcarded yet, and now I hear people thinking about bringing him in, and that could be, even though it doesn't feel that way for me, it could be the right decision because Sean Dyche's teams usually are pretty good defensively and they have decent numbers since Sean Dyche came in. But Cells has just been conceding every game week where I needed him to be playing well for me this season. So I'm sick and tired of him, and he's one of the main reasons why I'm looking to wildcard pretty soon. Or not really one of the main reasons, but like he's one of the reasons why I'm considering potentially a game week 13 or game week 14 wildcard. But I'm most likely going to wait until game week 15 with him. But yeah. Anyways, the defense as well. Senesi letting in goals, of course, even though he was free hitted away. He also got a yellow card, so he's suspended for the next game. Not too good from him. Timber conceded against 10-man Chelsea. Sad about that. Semenyo had 2 assists basically taken off because Evan Nilsson is a terrible striker. That's awful. Sar got injured, had to be subbed off. And Buemo got a stupid yellow card again and didn't really look that good in this game either. So yeah, I am tempted to just go to Fernandes pretty soon in regards to the Man United player there. And Buemo's not looked as good the last few game weeks. Haaland blanking as Leeds. It seemed like Leeds were just set on not having Haaland score the 100th goal in the Premier League, or his 100th goal in the Premier League against them. So they just had 3 centre-backs on him and let open space for Foden, who was the better player in that game, of course. Haaland was my captain, so 4 points from him. Disappointing with him. Mateta scoring. He had a major chance to score that he missed, of course, but then he scored a penalty, or he had to take the penalty twice, actually. So I got 6 points from him, and then 13 points from Igor Thiago, who once again scored twice. He's been fantastic for me with a goal every single game week since I brought him in game week 11. So yeah, he's someone that I'm really happy that I did have already, and someone that got me points before the free hit. People got him in game week 13 as well, so really happy with Igor Thiago. I did bench Richards, and I was a bit hesitant on that because I thought Palace would have a decent chance against Man United, and after the first half I was a bit like, oh damn, I've made a mistake here, but then they capitulated after the half. So I was pretty happy with that. Juve and King and Dubravka are just bench fodder at this point, but happy to see, I guess, King getting his first assist against Spurs, his first point return this season. He's another one that I've had since game week 1 because I haven't wildcarded left yet. But anyways, 41 points, not an ideal game week. Another red arrow, but it could have been worse, I guess. I had Thiago at least. So yeah, onwards and upwards, I guess, compared to everyone who's on a free hit. But I also made a free hit suggestion, and I think it's just cursed because this also didn't really score that well. 45 points for the free hit selection. Of course, I went for Doku rather than Foden. I was also scared off after the 2 bad Liverpool games against Nottingham Forest and against PSV in the midweek. I was scared off of having double Liverpool, having Salah and Gakpo, and then Salah ended up not playing, and Gakpo played and got a goal and an assist, a really late goal. Both him and Foden scored in injury time to further annoy me. And Salah didn't even play at all and was auto-subbed off for Van de Ven, who I had as the first bench guy, and he got 0 points because Spurs are just awful and not reliable. So the free hit, also a pretty terrible selection. I mean, 44 points is at least better than my own team. That's one of the few times that has happened this season. But yeah, not good times for the free hit selections this season, basically. 1.6 million overall with my free hit selections. That's unlimited transfers. So I guess I just have to sort of accept the fact that I am cursed when it comes to selecting free hit teams, and I have to select players that I don't want to score points. Maybe that's how I should move forward, but not really. I'm still going to try to make the best possible free hit squads as I see them, but clearly I'm struggling with that this season, so you could probably use this as a source of which players not to pick who are popular rather than who to pick at this moment in time. I have to prove myself as a free hit selector, I guess, because this season it's been terrible with another pretty bad score with 45 points in a really high scoring game week this past game week. At least, again, I had Igor Thiago, and at least I had the Aston Villa guys getting clean sheets, even though they were close to conceding. O'Reilly also looked really good. He got 4 points, could have easily had more than that. But I also didn't have Collins, who was close to scoring twice as well. So, yeah, the selection was pretty bad in general. Schade blanked, Doku blanked. Hold on, of course, as captain, got the blank as well. Timber, who I selected, who was pretty rare to have on a free hit. He also blanked despite playing against 10-man Chelsea for a half. Pretty disappointing from Arsenal there, especially conceding from a corner. And Munoz also blanked despite him being someone that I really feared going into the game week. Playing against Man United at home, I figured that would be a good game week for him, but it wasn't really meant to be either for him. So yeah, again, terrible free hit score. Keep that in mind for when I present to you guys with the game week 14 free hit squad as well, because I'm going to try to select what I think is the best squad to have for that upcoming game week, even though I've been terrible at it so far this season. But yeah, I just have to admit that at least I have my overall rank still being pretty good at the moment. Still, for now, I know people are gaining on me, but I'm still at a pretty enviable point of the season, especially with the wildcard in hand. So at least I have some credentials as an FPL manager, and hopefully the things that I'm saying make sense to you. I mean, don't take my rank for what it's worth or whatever. Judge me on what I'm saying, not how you perceive or how my ranks and rank history, which I don't have above me now, but tell you what type of manager I am. Anyways, I'm blabbering on now. I'm not making the best version of myself come through speaking bad English because it's my second language. Again, more excuses, of course. But let's move on to the manager of the week, someone that knows what they're doing, I assume. But this is also a bit lucky. I actually went for the upcoming game week, but this is the manager of the week this past game week. That is Dariusz Jumski from Poland, I think. Seems like a Polish name. in the name. But 80 points here. And the reason that I'm saying like someone that knows what they're doing maybe is the fact that this score is heavily boosted by the fact that Foden was vice captain and Salah didn't play a single minute. So if Salah had come on for a cameo for like 15 minutes, that would have been disastrous for this team, because the Foden 15-pointer would have just been a 15-pointer, which is good enough by itself, but it's even better as a captain or vice captain in this instance, getting 30 points. So that's a major benefactor for this team. 14 points from Gakpo as well, of course. Those two guys were the main guys who were selected on every single free hit squad, it seems like, and except for mine. 14 points Gakpo, 15 points for Foden, which turned out to be 30 as the vice captain in this instance. Guardiola with 6 points, Donnarumma with 5 points. This is also a team that was without any chips. That is the point of the manager of the week. I selected managers that had the highest score without using a chip. This is the manager that had the highest score in the FPL Scope Mini League. I didn't even say that. Like, you can join the FPL Scope Mini League yourself with the league code FNPQ83. And if you get the highest score in one particular game week without using a chip, you'll get featured on either a video or the FPL Scope podcast, just like Dariusz Szumski is right now. But the transfers were really, really good. Joe Pedro out for Thiago. That's 12 points earned there. And then Eze to Foden is basically 28 points earned because of Foden's captaincy on top of that. So two really good transfers there in total. Selling Eze after a 20-pointer as well takes some guts also, and it worked out like massively. So congrats to you for that. But of course, some good fortune with Salah not playing at all and you getting Foden as a vice captain. But anyways, that's a good boost for you for this season. You've had a bit of a tumultuous season so far. You started off not too well. But now you've actually gotten into the swing of things in these later game weeks, which is kind of crazy considering your team, because you don't have Haaland, which is like one of the main things that stick out to you looking at this team. Triple City and no Haaland. Not sure how well that will work out in the long run, but maybe you've just committed to that now and you want to go through with that. And that's what I've sort of taken in mind when I look at your current transfer plans. I could do transfers like if you want to have Haaland, if you're not that dead set on having Salah rather than Haaland, you could sell Salah to Bruno Fernandes, or not Bruno Fernandes, you don't have enough money for that if you want to upgrade Cooper Jr. to Haaland, but you could go from Salah to Minte and double up on Brighton for 2 game weeks, because they have 2 really nice game weeks now coming up against Aston Villa at home and then another team at home that's pretty easy to play against. West Ham at home. So you could do Salah to Minte, have a nice double up there with Brighton. Downgrade one of your goalkeepers. Like I don't even get 4.5 goalkeepers in conjunction. I just prefer to have Dubravka and someone cheap as well. I don't really like spending that much on goalkeepers, but having a 5.5 goalkeeper in Donnarumma and then a 4.8 goalkeeper in Sanchez, I think that's just overkill. And I think Donnarumma is the one that you want to get rid of, because you have other City assets that I think are better. Like I generally don't like these 5.5 goalkeepers because I think they block other players from being in your teams. I think there are City players. Haaland, in case you want him, for example, still to leave that option open. Selling a City player wouldn't be too bad. So I would sell Donnarumma rather than Sanchez and start Sanchez against Leeds. I think that's a perfectly fine player to start this game week. And with that money, this is if you're trying to get, okay, I'm mixing up things now, but Donnarumma to Dubravka, Salah to Minte, and that leaves you enough money to go from Cooper Jr. to Haaland if you want to do the Haaland route. But if you don't want to do the Haaland route, I would still sell Donnarumma to Dubravka. But I would do Tonali to Fernandes, Bruno Fernandes, who I think is going to be a really good player to have going forward now. I don't think Tonali or Gravenberch are that good of, are really good options at this moment in time. They got a lot of, Tonali hasn't really even gotten that many points this season. I think Bruno Guimaraes is more the midfielder you want from Newcastle if you want to go for a midfielder from them. But yeah, both him and Gravenberch was really good at the start of the season, hasn't really been that good in FPL or as good as he was as a player earlier in the season. Now, so I would sell both Tonali and Gravenberch, and the main priority would be to getting Fernandes, and then also you can get Dewsbury Hall for a cheap price, or downgrade in terms of price Gravenberch to Dewsbury Hall, and that will give you enough money to go from Tonali to Fernandes. Otherwise, you'd have to sell for Mbeumo if you don't want to sell Gravenberch, I guess, and save a transfer. So, yeah, those are 2 different options. One if you want to get Haaland, and one if you want to keep the current structure that you have with Salah still intact. But that's what I think I would do if I was in your shoes, at least. One of those 2 options, most likely the Haaland one, because I don't really see the value in Salah over Haaland this season as it has unfolded right now. But anyways, the team is looking pretty good for this game week as well. I don't mind it. It is like sort of a Christmas tree formation, and that's why I want to have an upgrade over Gravenberch in Bruno Fernandes. Of course, you can just start Fernandes rather than Gravenberch, or like sell Gravenberch for Fernandes and bench Dewsbury Hall still if you don't want to start him. But yeah, I think your defense is good. You have Calafiori and Timber against Brentford at home. I think that's a good combination. Of course, that means that you should probably, or maybe you want to like double down and have both the attacker from Brentford and Thiago and 2 Arsenal defenders. But I feel like personally, that's not how I play it. I try to maximize points. And you can't really get clean sheet points for both the Arsenal guys and still get attacking returns from Thiago. That just doesn't work. It's either or. So I would probably bench Thiago this game week. That's something that I'm looking to do myself potentially as well for this game week. Guardiola against Fulham away. I think that's a good option, even though you sell Donnarumma for Dubravka and start Sanchez. I think it's nice to have at least one. You'll either double up on Chelsea or double up on City this game week, which is super nice. Burning and Spurs at home, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world either with how Spurs are looking currently. Foden has had an amazing game week. A lot of people are looking to bring him in, so you're already a step ahead there. Gravenberch I would sell, of course. Gakpo is a really good player this game week. He's someone that I would advocate having because he scored a lot of points last game week, and he is most likely going to start this game as well. And Salah, of course, if you're going to stick with him, he got his rest now. You would assume that he's back and starting again for at least one game week, because he's leaving for 1 or 2 or 3 game weeks even before he leaves for African Cup of Nations. But he could be a really good option against Sunderland at home, and he would be my captain since you don't have Haaland or Saka or Fernandes in this draft. But if you go and get Fernandes, maybe you should consider him as captain. That could also be a possibility, but I think Salah is also a nice differential, especially now that he's gotten his rest, and I would expect him to play 90 minutes in the next game against Sunderland as well. Welbeck up front against Aston Villa at home, I think that's also a really nice fixture. He's a good starter as your striker. And on the bench, of course, Thiago, Tonali, and Kirby Jr. You would sell potentially Kirby Jr. for Haaland if you do that route, and you would sell Tonali regardless whether you want to do this Bruno Fernandes route or if you want to do the Haaland route that I did mention previously in this video, basically. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the manager of the week. I hope you have a good season, and I wish you all the best of luck this season. You have gained some rank lately, and hopefully you can continue that climb with some good decisions going forward. So yeah, that was the manager of the week. Again, if you want to be in the manager of the week, you can join the FPL School Mini League with the league code FMPQ83. And if you have the highest score in a particular game week, you get featured on a video on this channel, basically. So yeah, now let's move on to the free hit draft for Game Week 14. And like I said previously, if you looked at my Game Week 13 free hits selection section in this video, maybe this is a warning of which players not to go for. Maybe I'm jinxing these players. And actually looking at this, I don't really own that many of these players, so maybe I am sort of jinxing them, but I swear that was not what I was intending when I selected the squad. It just happened to be only 3 starters that I do own, which is Haaland, Mateta, and Timber, for what it's worth. I don't have O'Reilly. I'm going to go through it anyways. In goal, I have Henderson against Burnley away. I think Palace defenders are good this game week. I'm going for Henderson. I think Richards is a decent defensive option, but I think there's another defensive player who's better in Nico Williams against Wolves. He's more attacking, so I prefer him. I prefer Williams and Henderson rather than Sells, especially Sells, because I don't like him since he's been terrible for my FPL team this season. Rather than Sells and Richards, I've gone with Henderson and Nico Williams in this case, because I think Nico Williams has a better attacking potential than Richards has, basically. Munoz against Burnley away as well. I think that makes all the sense in the world. I think he looks like a really good player to have this game week. I think Palace defense in general looks good. Hopefully they don't rotate too much, and hopefully they're not too tired either. I think that's like one of the downsides to Palace now. They are looking a bit tired now with so many matches and just like not the biggest of squads, and it's taking its toll. I think Glasner has even said that already, and yeah, he hasn't really been the best at rotating his players for the Europa League or even the Conference League, which is where they are this season, which makes it even worse. And they haven't even gotten the best results there either. Lost against AEK Larnaca and lost against Strasbourg. Like, yeah, they've made some mistakes in Europe for sure. Nico O'Reilly against Fulham away. I think he looked fantastic this past game week. I don't think it's like super necessary to bring him in for this game week, but I think he is like a really good Senesi replacement if you're looking to sell Senesi this game week. O'Reilly would be the one to go with if you don't have Timber already, because I still think Timber, despite him sort of having a bit of a stinker against Chelsea, conceding a goal and sort of standing in the way of Gyökeres scoring the winning goal, he is still a tremendous player who is up there trying to get goals and assists and can get clean sheets playing for Arsenal. Another Arsenal player that is good, that is Bukayo Saka. He also plays against Brentford at home. I think that's a good fixture. He's also in the midfield. Bruno Fernandes against West Ham at home. I think he's one of the best midfielders, of course, this game week. He got 2 assists this past game week and has a really nice fixture against West Ham, who lost against Liverpool last game week, so that tells you how bad they are. And one of the reasons that they lost against Liverpool was Cody Gakpo, who got an assist and a goal, and I think Sunderland at home is also another good fixture for him. I expect him to play 90 minutes again. Maybe that's why it's not really advisable that much to use your free hitting in Week 14, because it is a midweek game week where a lot of changes and a lot of substitutions and rotations can happen. So yeah, I assume Gakpo will be starting this game week, but you never know. He might be rested just like Salah was this past game week. Voltemad up front for Newcastle. I think he's looked really good lately. Spurs are for the taking at the moment, and I think he's going to be a really good option. Mateta playing against Burnley away. I would assume that he plays, but maybe he gets rested after playing 90 minutes and then starting also in the Europa League game, playing a lot of minutes there. So maybe he gets rested, but I think now with Sarr also injured, I don't think they would bench Mateta actually, so I think he's going to be a good option for Game Week 14, but you never know with rotation there. And then Haaland, still my captain against Fulham. Could go with Saka, could go with Fernandes, but I think Haaland is still like the safer option. I still believe that he will score high points as your captain, more so than not, basically. Like, I still think he's a good option, but maybe he's starting to die down a bit like he has done in seasons past, where he started off really quickly and then continued as like still really good. Like, he's still one of the best strikers, if not the best striker in the world. But he tends to slow down a little bit from the amazing starts to the season, and we've seen a little bit of that lately. So maybe that's happening with Haaland, but I still think he's the best captain's option right now. On the bench, just a lot of cheap players, really. Dubravka, Dewsbury Hall, King, and Estev. When it comes to best alternatives, I think Igor Jesus playing as Wolves is a really nice option. He's looked really good lately and close to scoring a couple times. He's the starting striker for Nottingham Forest, and I wouldn't be too surprised if he takes a penalty either for them. He's done that in the past. Semenyo against Everton at home. He's someone that I am also quite eager to just keep. A lot of people are looking to sell him now, but I think Everton are sort of there for the taking, and Semenyo is still a really good player. Like, I'm probably going to stick it out with him. Even on a wildcard, I might just keep him just because I have a lot of affinity for him. Like I've told you guys several times if you watch my videos, and I think he has just a lot of potential in there. Yes, he overperformed at the start of the season, but he still is the main man for Bournemouth, who are still scoring goals for what it's worth. Malik Taw as well, after scoring twice this past game week, now playing in Spurs, who conceded the set pieces against Arsenal, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly there. So he could easily score again this game week. He looks like a really good option as well. So those are the best alternatives that I have for you guys. But as always, take it with a pinch of salt, I guess, coming from me, because my free hit selections have been pretty bad this season overall. But yeah, that is my free hit suggestion anyways. Now let's move on to my current plans as it stands right now. I have a couple of options. I have considered the wildcard, just to address that first and foremost. I did make the weekly wildcard draft video yesterday. I posted that yesterday, Monday. And I did say that I was quite tempted. But now looking at this team and like sort of easing down a bit and like shaking off the bad vibes from Game Week 13 for me as someone that didn't free hit and saw all these perfect teams get high scores, my team is looking pretty good for this game week, so I don't really think I'm going to use the wildcard, but I'm still like, I wouldn't be too far off from doing it. But I think my team compared to most other teams looks pretty good now. Of course, I have Sarr and Senesi, who are struggling with injuries and suspension, one of each basically this game week. Like, it doesn't really, like, I am still in a pretty good position, and I think selling Sarr would make sense. I think my defense is still pretty good. Like, even without Senesi, I don't need to sell him, but my first option would be to sell Sarr for Saka. That's something that I've looked at doing, or getting Saka has been something I looked at doing for a long time now. I was close to doing Enzo to Saka last game week, which I should have done probably, because Saka got 5 points at least and Rodgers got 3. But now I might just go for him because it's Brentford at home. I feel like I need an Arsenal player. I'm sick of having just one Arsenal player after having to sell Gyökeres and Gabriel to injuries. So Saka is the main priority. But the fact that if I do go for Saka, I can't get Munoz for Senesi. I don't have enough money in the bank to do that. So I'm looking at potentially doing a different move, and that would be Sarr to Bruno Fernandes for this game week, and then also do a -4 to do Senesi to Munoz and bench Igor Thiago, who's someone that I would ideally want to bench. But I might also just start him. He's been good for me the last few game weeks, and yes, it is Arsenal, but Arsenal have also conceded a goal or two the last few game weeks, so Igor Thiago could score and break the deadlock there for Arsenal in this game week as well. But currently I'm leaning towards option 1, just going the safe route with Arsenal. and then waiting another game week. I already have Mbeumo from Man United anyways, and doubling up against West Ham, like as a West Ham fan, even though that shouldn't really affect how I'm thinking, just doesn't feel too right either. And taking a -4 as well, haven't done that yet this season. I'm trying to stay away from that. I did it once last season, and I haven't done it so far this season either. I'm trying to be a bit more precocious with my, if that's the right word, with my transfers this season. And especially now, since I'm wildcarding most likely in Game 15 anyway, it feels like a bit of a risk. Like usually when you do a -4, you would expect the player you bring in to get 4 points more than the player that you sell, especially when you're wildcarding the game week after and you don't get those long-term benefits. So what I would bank on there, if I did that second thing, would be that Munoz gets 4 points on average more than Igor Thiago, who I would bench for Munoz if I brought in Munoz. And I don't think that's like really that viable, especially for just like a 1 week punt. Like I think I'm just going to stick with the team currently. Of course, it is a bit sad that when I do sell Sar and I have another Palace spot open, I won't be able to get Munoz straight away. But yeah, it is what it is. That's probably another lesson as well. Like this whole, like Ismail Assar, just talk about him for a moment, because he's been terrible for me. He's been blanking every single game week. I've just been waiting and waiting. At some point he's going to hole, and I think that like in an alternate universe, he could have had like an amazing spell the last few game weeks. But it's just been blanking left, right, and center, sadly for me. And now he got injured. He's out until after African Cup of Nations, most likely, with his injury. And I think also my lesson from this season in general is I should have just gone for Munoz as my third Palace player and just kept Richards, had Munoz as my third Palace player, because these defensive players who are as attacking as Munoz, they have both the clean sheet potential and the attacking potential, which is super, super nice. So yeah, I think I'm just going to lean more towards that this season, going more with these super attacking defenders. I think Correa is someone that was also just looking to be a point scorer sometime at some point this season. Gabriel is someone that I really want to have back when he's back healthy for Arsenal as well. So I'm going to prioritize these types of defenders rather than midfielders, because midfielders have not been that good for me, especially lately. Like looking at Mbeumo, Semenyo, Rodgers this past game week, Enzo for several game weeks before I got an 11 pointers, Sar for a lot of game weeks. Like midfielders have not worked out for me the last few game weeks, and I'm looking more into potentially getting good defenders rather than having the likes of Juf and Senesi basically just stinking out the bench, as has been the case for a while now. So yeah, I'm still leaning towards option 1. Option 3 is like a possibility with the wildcard, but I am a bit more lukewarm with that, and I'm probably waiting for Game 15 instead to fully jump on that. But looking at the free hit team and the wildcard selection team that I had yesterday, the weekly wildcard draft, getting some of these Newcastle players, Cha and Voltemat especially against Spurs, that seems like a good idea. Getting Saka and Munoz also on top of each other at the same time, getting Fernandes in the team. Like there are a lot of things that I would want to do with my squad selection. And if you look at the wildcard draft that I made, only 5 out of these players are still there. So that should tell you something. But some of the players that I've removed have been Palace players who I think are going to be good this game week, assuming they don't get rotated. And I would still think that Mateta plays this game week, but you don't really know. And he's also just pissing me off because he's missing chances left, right, and center. And the one time he actually scored them and he got a hat-trick, he still missed a lot of chances in that game too, by the way. When he got a hat-trick, I didn't have him in my squad. I had him from game week 1 until game week 6. And then I missed his hat-trick in game week 7 or 8 or something. Brought him back in like game week 9 or 10. And he scored like 2 goals for me. It's fair. It's fine. He's been a decent striker, but he just keeps missing chances. And it's annoying me. But I'm going to keep him for one more game week, I guess. And then I'm going to wildcard out of it, basically. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up all my thoughts. I have to, looking back and going through this video, because there's a lot of graphics that I had to make for this. I made some graphical errors that I have to edit in post, which is annoying because I'm going to go to sleep now because I got to work at early morning. So I'm just going to end this video now. I hope there was enough information. I hope I didn't speak too fast for you to understand. You can always, that's the thing, like you have this option with YouTube videos. Typically people speed videos up. You can, if you think I speak too fast, you can actually go on YouTube and slow down the video to like 0.75 speed. Maybe that's more your type of speed. And maybe I'm still sounding coherent. I haven't actually tried that, but that is an option for you guys who think I speak too fast. But if you enjoy me speaking fast and that's part of the experience for you, then have at it. Maybe even speed it up even more if you want that as well. But yeah, anyways, now I'm speaking bullshit, so let's end this video. Subscribe, like, comment down below, especially, which I always like to respond to, and I'll see you next time for the next game week, which is going to be pretty soon, like quicker than you know. So good luck in Game 14. See you later. Bye bye.